My take on using recruiters. Welcome to my channel where I chat about my science job hunt, deliver presentations and improve on my communication skills. I am Paul Yeatman, an experienced microbiologist of 15 years seeking a return to the lab. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Today I will talk about how useful recruiters are. I have interacted with recruiters both as an employer and as a job seeker. Both times my needs failed to be met. As a team leader, my company used the services of a recruitment firm to send us cover letters and resumes of potential candidates. Thinking back, we got about 20 or so resumes passed through, and most of them were for chemical engineers. This was for a microbiology role. Only two were microbiologists. I'm all for entertaining transferable skills. For example, in my old team, we had an ex-chemist who was a reasonably competent microbiologist. But seriously, if I'm looking for a microbiologist, send me people who at least have microbiology background or knowledge. Of the applications, the only ones anywhere suited to the job were those with microbiology experience. Ideally, I'd want 5 to 10 applicants from those with at least 75% match to the role. I'm never looking for 100% experience or competency for the role, because that's not going to be challenging for the applicant, and it's really unrealistic. Because if you are 100% matched for the role, you're either got a huge experience that's a hell of a lot more valuable than just that particular role, or something's up. At least that's what I would think. Surely you're not going to tailor a job application to be that perfect and show your history to be that perfect. And that comes back to how challenging is that role going to be if that person is 100% aligned with the role. You've got to have some scope for development or challenges or whatever else. So anyway, getting back to that particular job interview scenario, the deciding factor when choosing the successful applicant was picking the one that actually stated that they had a passion for microbiology. We had one overqualified applicant and one person who pretty much had no experience at all. And the one who stated they were passionate about microbiology was the unexperienced one. So there you go. Say you like microbiology when you're in the job interview, or say that you really love the role that you're applying for, and you've got a chance, or a better chance, of actually being selected as the lucky winner. Okay, as a job seeker, recruiters are oh so much fun. Of the interviews I've had with them, half have been in cafes and the other half in offices. All of the recruiters were eager to meet, and after that, it's like they dropped off the face of the planet. It's like if you don't meet the job role they're going for 100%, then it's like, fuck off, to not be delicate. One had the goal to suggest I should do more study. 15 years experience on the bench, running projects, auditing, producing controlled documentation and learning teams. Not good enough, eh? Feedback from recruiters has been minimal. Usually you were not 100% aligned with the role, or we use a holistic process, blah blah blah. That, in my opinion, is bullcrap. Anyone applying for a role they are 100% suited for means they will not be challenged, as I already chatted about earlier. Personally, I like a challenge, and I believe that's one way to keep employees engaged in their roles. I know roles I like to work in are ones that are busy and you have things to do. Fair enough, for some roles you can find stuff to do, but then some roles, if you do find stuff to do, half the time it's pointless stuff. There's no point doing stuff that's just being done because you're just sitting there and you've got to be paid. You want to be doing work where you're actually producing results which either helps you develop, helps the end user, helps the team, helps others. Like basically you want to be developing somehow in the role regardless of what role that is. So in my current role, I started out knowing nothing about the software I would support, and then learning about the role while I was performing it kept me engaged for about 3 years. Things have gotten quiet now, sort of driving me nuts. Hence this channel, to help me and to help you. In a previous video, I talked about a recruiter who decided I was too quiet. They never told me that. I found out through a colleague that that was what the recruiter decided, and because of that, crickets. Not providing feedback makes it really hard to improve, and from my video sign off you'll know how much I value a feedback loop. So if you're unhappy with somebody or you think a certain skill set they have isn't particularly good for the role, tell them about it. It helps you, it helps them, everybody's happy. So, based on my experience, recruiters don't know their employers' needs, don't bother to properly help their job-seeking customers, and they are bad on following up with those looking for work. Both come down to a lack of communication. Sending job seekers crickets reeks of disrespect. When looking for work, I have automated searches set up to not return anything that comes from a recruiter, and I tend to ignore any contacts that they make. Why? It's not worth my time. Now and then I'll look at the offerings that come out of recruitment agencies, and if I can deduce who the actual employer is, I'll contact them directly. So, you've probably determined that recruiters are not something that I particularly like. You may love them, you may have a good experience with them, but that's my perspective. So, not worth my time, possibly not worth yours, but anyway, give them a go. They might work. If they don't, ditch them, do something that's a better use of your time. In my next video, I'll be discussing generalists versus specialists, which is interesting from a microbiology standpoint, and I also think that actually has application in the, I guess, real world. If you have found this video interesting, click that subscribe button, whack in a comment if you want me to talk about something specific, or you want to provide feedback on this video, share it, all that fun stuff. I consider all relevant feedback as positive, as without a feedback loop, improving is harder, and you know that, I love feedback. Until next time, this has been Paul Yeatman, scientist seeking career satisfaction. Kapla!